We have Ryan, we have Karl, we have Bob ready to go. Zach, let's go pick some champions right now. Welcome into the third annual D3 Datacast Conference Champions Draft. We are here with several very good friends of the show, very good D3 Hoops supporters. I'm going to introduce you in the order that I see you guys on my screen. First, we have the CEO of D3 Direct, Mr. Karl Barkley. How you doing, Karl?
Doing well. Glad to be here. Glad to be back.
Thanks for being here. Next up, we have, I don't even know how to describe you, so I'm just going to say from the QCast, Bob Quillman, a general man about town. Hi, Bob. How are you doing?
I like the general man about town. I appreciate that title. It's good to see everybody.
A very well-dressed man this evening, I must say.
Appreciate the t-shirt. Yeah. The D3 Datacast.
We don't have
swag.
t-shirts at the QCast, so thank you.
Yeah. And then next up, we have the creator and executive director of the Great Lakes Invitational Basketball Tournament, Ryan Whitnable. How you doing, Ryan? You got the hat repping the GLI. How you doing?
Yeah, speaking of well-dressed tonight, got the hat.
Yeah. Great to see you guys repping the hat tonight that all the student athletes will be getting at this year's event, and I can't believe we're just a month away.
Well, we're glad to have you three joining us in the D3 Datacast 5-box for another Conference Champions Draft. I'm going to go through the rules to remind us all how we do this thing, to remind our viewers what we do. We're going to pick the regular season champions of 42 different conferences. There's 43 Division III conferences, but the Coast to Coast Conference does not play a regular season schedule, so they don't have a regular season conference champion, so they're going to be out of this discussion. That leaves 42 eligible conferences. There's going to be 8 rounds, 5 of us here, so we will pick 40 of them. There's going to be 2 that are going to be too close to call, so we're just going to talk afterwards about those last 2 conferences, what we think about the teams, and why maybe we can't pick them. We're going to do a snake draft with the order somewhat randomized. I was the champion last year, so I will go first. And we're going to go through the first round. Then whoever was last in the first round is going to go back, start first, and we're going to go in reverse order. And we're going to have some tiebreaker scenarios to discuss, because last year we came down to tiebreakers. That's how I beat Zach last year. The first tiebreaker. So we're doing regular season conference champions. If you get a co-championship situation, that's full credit. First tiebreaker, though, is who was the number 1 seed in the conference tournament. That's first tiebreaker. If we need to go to another tiebreaker round, then winning the conference tournament will get you a tiebreaker. So those, hopefully that will break all ties. Breaking down the scoreboard from last year, Zach and I both had 4. I beat him on tiebreakers. Bob had 3 correct. Ryan had 2 correct. And Karl had 1 correct. He picked 1 correct, and he's going to try to improve on that this year. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to flash the scoreboard on the recording screen every now and then. Those participants, you're going to have your own view of the draft board, I think, behind the scenes, but we're going to try to keep the fans updated. Did I cover everything? Do we have any questions that we need to settle before we get into this?
Well, I appreciate you highlighting how poorly we all did last year.
This could be worse, though. Spoiler
Tough
alert,
sledding.
this year could be worse. This is tough.
So we're going to go person by person. Research this time of year can be a little bit sparse. Let's give our picks in, a sentence or 2 of why you picked them. And that might just be, vibes, baby. Like, let's just roll with this. I don't know. Not every team has even posted a roster. We barely have had schedules for a couple of weeks for some of these teams. So I think we're just going to go with it. Do we feel good?
Feeling great. Let's do it.
I don't know if we feel good, but I think we're ready to go.
All right. So the good fortune of me winning last year, if you keep scoring, you don't win, that's your own problem, right? So the good fortune of me winning last year means I get the first pick. I'm going to roll with a team that helped me secure this win last year, both by getting a co-championship and then winning their number 1 seed. I'm going to go down to the last year in the Collegiate Conference of the South. I'm going to go with Maryville. I'm going to go with our guys, the Maryville Scots. I think that they're ready to roll. They're getting some love in the top 25 ballots that I've seen. Ryan and Bob and I think I'll have them in our top 25. I think Maryville's going to win the CCS once again, and that's going to be my first pick.
Well, interestingly, with the number 2 pick, that was who I expected to be taking, with the Maryville Scots. That was my planned pick. That means that the team I assumed was number 1 in this draft is still sitting on the board.
Okay.
And I'll take the defending national champions. I'll take Trinity of Connecticut to win the NESCAC. It seems to me like they are an overwhelming favorite to win the league, although there's at least one other super elite team at Tufts and probably a bevy of other teams that could win it. But I'm going to trust Trinity, and I'll take them.
Seems like they could be an overwhelming favorite to win the whole country right now, but I like the pick in the NESCAC right now. Karl, you're up third.
Yeah, I'm going to go with WPI out of the NUMAC. I'm going to go.
All right, down goes the NUMAC. WPI is always in the mix in the NUMAC, so I think you can't go wrong with at least they're going to bring you to the last week if they don't win that thing.
They'll be in the conversation.
Ryan, you're up number 4.
Yeah, I was hoping they'd still be available here at 4, and they are. I'm going to go to the West Coast, to the SCIAC, and take Redlands off the board.
Ryan, I saw you say earlier that you had 2 teams in dark red at the top, so it sounds like you got one of the 2.
Got one of the 2.
Okay.
Maryville was the other.
All right, so I'm picking back to back. I'm going to swing with a big name right off the bat here. Go to the ODAC, Randolph-Macon. They've been a 15-1 or 16-0 like the last 5 or 6 years, and they got another team bringing a bunch back. So we're gonna roll. I know that ODAC picture can sometimes be crazy, but it always involves Randolph-Macon at the top there. So we're gonna make them the big first round pick here. And then I'm going to go doubling back here, starting off the second round. I'm going to go with another kind of just perennial name at the top of their conference, and that's in the Little East. I'm going to go with Keene State. Definitely have had some turnover in the roster. You know, the big names that have been leading that program for a bit have changed over, but I think that's just a program you can count on from year to year. Give me Keene State.
Ryan, we're back to you.
I'm going to go to Region 7 and the host of last year's Great Lakes Invitational. In the MIAA, I'm going to take Calvin.
Let's go.
Got through both Snyders. Actually got through 3 Snyder picks. That's shocked me.
Yep.
It's just
I'll
too
follow
easy
that up.
pick. Yeah.
It is. It really is. And I'll follow that up by going with a hometown team of another member on this call, just so Bob can't have him here. I'm going to go with Illinois Wesleyan, I believe the only elite team in their conference, maybe nationally relevant team in their conference. So
Wow, don't get me in trouble there, Karl. But did you see Bob had number 2, another team in his own league, up at number 2.
That's right. I saw.
I was prepared to take another team from that same conference with my pick coming up. So Karl,
wow,
this is interesting. So you
sometimes we root for each other's picks here.
That's right.
Out sometimes.
Okay, so I have to adjust because I had kind of my pick ready. Oh boy, can I do this so early? I don't think I'm mentally prepared for this one. Tell you what, I'm going to go a little safer right now because I believe I can get this team on the way back in just a second. Let's go to the WIAC. Let's go to Wisconsin lacrosse. It seems like a pretty good one. I think the WIAC doesn't have a real clear number 2. I think it's Platteville, but it seems like there's a gap there.
Yeah, a lot of turnover on Platteville as well. So, all right, I'm just typing in Bob's pick, and then I will make my own. And this pick that I'm going to go with, I feel like carries some risk because there's some unknowns. There's a new conference and a new coach and some roster turnover. But I think I like what Trinity, Texas might have moving from the SCAC to the SAA. And I know there's a lot of unknowns there, but I think that's a winnable conference for Trinity, Texas.
SAA pick. Wow.
I like the pick, Matt. I like the pick.
And, well, that means if you like my pick, that means you're rooting for yourself, so you think I'm wrong. So snake draft. So my pick again. I am gonna go. I'm gonna stay in Texas. I'm gonna go to the SCAC. And now that Trinity's gone, I'm gonna say that's cleared out a little bit for St. Thomas, Texas, who's been maybe in some battles with Trinity, Texas. So I'm gonna take those two back to back. St. Thomas out of the SCAC.
Like it.
No, I say I like it because I was hoping to make the Texas back-to-back as it came around, but not even close.
They're both good ones.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm in Texas as we speak. Now, if I was Lee Corso, I would tell you that team that I thought would still be here is here.
Okay.
And if I was Lee Corso, I'd put a little keepa on right now. And I would tell you that I'm going to the Skyline Conference. This is a team that I will see in person this year, and I believe that they're going to win the Skyline, and that's the Max of Yeshiva. Please put them down for me. Thank you.
I saw that they got some love in some top 25 polls, some ballots there.
A couple shaky voters,
Yeah,
me and Coach Reg.
Yeah.
So take it for what it's worth.
Both on the edge there. Karl.
All right, we're going to go to the NJAC, Montclair State.
And Jack. Tournament team from last year, Montclair State.
By the way, I took lacrosse, not Platteville.
Oh, you did. Yep.
Problems here.
Yep.
D3 problems.
That brings us to Ryan. You have any picks left?
Yeah, I'm going to stay in the West and a reliable team that is always in the title mix, the Northwest Conference, the Whitworth Pirates.
Okay.
Agree. Just sort of like a super safe, put it on the board pick. I had the same. I don't even know much about their personnel yet at this point. I just figured that was the pick in the NWC.
The program pick.
Yep, program pick.
Zachary, we're at you for 2 picks.
Ooh, okay. Well, let's start off here with, let's kind of stay in maybe the same part of the country as my last pick. Let's go to the MASCAC with Westfield State. How are we feeling about that?
That was my MASCAC pick, but to me, it's pretty shaky at this point. Now we're to the point. They're tough.
Got a lot of red on the MASCAC.
Do not touch.
And then, let's just start making a Northeast theme here as we're kicking off round 4. Give me Husson in the NAC.
After 2 years of people picking Maine Farmington in this draft, like, why not just pick the obvious pick in that conference, right? So you just go with Husson.
I hope so. I hope so.
This will be the year that Farmington gets it done.
Maybe.
Of course.
Maybe, yeah.
That's the way it works.
Mr. GLI, your 4th pick.
Yeah, this is where it gets tough. I'm going to go to my home conference, the OAC, and take Mount Union.
Do we feel like the road is cleared now with John Carroll out of the way, that Mount Union's going to rise up with dominance in the OAC, or is it just they're the next logical pick this year?
I think they're the logical pick this year to start preseason. I think there could be a couple teams that challenge them that I won't name. Maybe some team that's got some new faces around. But I think Mount Union, at least to start the year, has to be the favorite.
All right. Like it. That brings us to Karl.
All right. I want them on my team just because they're one of the most fun teams to watch in all of D3 hoops, but we're going to go with Pitt Bradford in the AMCC.
AMCC.
For my AMCC pick for sure.
Okay, Bob. How deep are we going in your list here? Your 4th pick is up.
It's more of a statement pick. We've been in some behind the scenes direct message debates on some of our ballots and positioning of the UAA. I'm just going to put my money where my mouth is on this. I'm just going to tell you, if I have Jair Knight and Ben Pierce on my team and a whole bunch of other dudes, I'm going to win my league. And Coach Zimmerman's going to coach these guys up. So give me the Emory Eagles, please, in the UAA.
All right. I will give you.
Can we get
Emory.
a D3 Dunks tiebreaker?
Well,
Absolutely.
then Jair Knight's going to win that for you pretty clearly if we get a D3 Dunks tiebreaker. But I don't think we declared that before the draft started.
That's right.
So this is up to me for 2. And I feel like if we weren't already throwing darts, then we are right now. I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go to the AEC, and I'm gonna pick Marymount, as I think we've maybe lost Karl for the time being. So we'll see if we can get that back.
I'm right back. Just had
he's
to
here. He's here. Okay.
make a quick adjustment.
Okay. He's maybe getting undressed in the background or something, so he got to turn off his camera.
Yeah.
I don't know what's
It's a
going
family
on over there,
program.
but yeah,
It's an outfit change.
at least PG-13 here, please. So I went AEC Marymount, and I'm going to follow that up with, oh man, this feels really risky to me, but I'm going to go to the Landmark Conference and pick Catholic for my next pick. I did have them in my top 25, but I feel like I've been pretty high on them compared to other people. So if they are a top 25 team, then this is maybe a good pick, but I feel a little bit shaky on where I have them.
Program pick, right? Just
Kind of a program. They've been there. They've
program
been
pick?
there, done that. Yeah.
Rue was undefeated in conference last year, right?
Yeah, some
Maybe,
turnover there
yeah.
though. Some turnover there though.
Yeah.
You know,
Little turnover, yeah.
Is that back to me?
5th round for Bob. Yep.
5th pick.
Oh boy. Of a tough one. This is a total program pick. Total program pick. Johnny's. St. John's and the MIAC. Just I trust Johnny's will be good and win the league. That's all I know about it. They lost a ton. Trust they'll be good.
They did lose a lot. So, but again, good
Ton.
program. You think they could reload, right?
Yep. This team, I think they didn't win the regular season, but they won the conference. I'm going to the Empire 8 with Utica.
I think this is back-to-back for Utica for you. Or maybe that was
Yeah.
2 years ago. I definitely think you've been
Loves
picking
Utica.
Utica. Yeah.
I've been picking Utica. Yeah, it's a program pick for me.
All right. Well,
All
we're
right,
just getting close to running out of picks here.
I took last year's host of the Great Lakes Invitational. I'm going to take this year's host of the Great Lakes Invitational and take Washington and Jefferson in the President's Conference. They bring back everyone off of a team that was right around 20 wins last year.
Yeah, I did not feel good about the President's Conference, but I think that's a good pick. Zach, we're at you for 2.
Yeah, let's go with the USA South Pfeiffer here to wrap up round 5. And then let's we've talked a lot about the program picks here. Let's talk about a maybe a bounce back program pick here out of the SUNYAC with Oswego State.
SUNYAC.
Feels like they used to always be a slam dunk, and then last year was a little bit of a step back. So maybe they're back in range here.
Bounce back pick. I like it.
Back to Whitnable.
Oswego was going to be my pick at that point. Let's stay in Region 7 and go to the North Coast Athletic Conference. I'll take newcomer John Carroll in the North Coast.
You know, I had a hot take in that conference that I just want to put out there for when this ends and we can replay the tapes back. DePaul has this group of like kids that have been freshmen together and sophomores together. Now they're all juniors. If this got desperate, I was going to take DePaul. I think John Carroll's probably the safest pick, but just that's my hot take. I wanted to get on the record. Thank you.
Let the record show.
It's on the record now, but also on the record that you did not take them. So we'll have to see. We'll have to go to the judges' tapes if you want to claim victory here at the end of the day. I don't know.
Taking them late. Only take. I wasn't. There was a low confidence level with
Okay.
that, but I kind of like them.
Okay.
All right. Ooh, I'm going to go to the ASC. This is just a pure numbers play here. Not too many in the conference. We're going to go Harden Simmons.
Yeah. I think it's about time they came off the board now. Yeah.
Yeah, that feels like a great pick at this point in the draft.
A team that's getting a lot of top 25 votes, right? That was
Yeah.
That's a good one. Boy, now we're in the trench. We're officially to the point where we're at a crapshoot. Let's see, boy, fairways and greens here. Do I go with a program pick or a flyer? You know who I like in the Centennial? How about Franklin and Marshall?
Ooh.
I think they're going to have a big season this year. No offense to you, Carl, and the Centennial, but I like F&M.
None taken. The defending champs, so at least regular season.
And they return a bunch.
They do. It's going to be a tough league.
Oh boy. Okay, so this is at me for 2. I'm going to go to the American Rivers, and I'm going to admit this is just 100% vibes, but I'm going to go with the Prairie Wolves. I'm going to go Nebraska Wesleyan and see if they can make noise once again. They're no stranger to being highly ranked in that conference.
Yeah. I like it.
But it's also a conference that's difficult to know what to make of it year in, year out. There's usually 3 or 4 good teams, lots of people beating each other up. For my next pick, man, I'm going to go to the Midwest Conference, and I think I'm going to go with Illinois College. Even though they had maybe a little bit of a step back last year, I'm gonna go for them on a bounce back this year, and I think Blue Boys can win the regular season in the Midwest Conference.
Monmouth is going to be good. Grinnell
was really good last year. Yeah,
That's who I had down. Yeah.
Including Q Cascades,
Grinnell?
Kai Tahuki.
Grinnell. That Grinnell team was pretty good and pretty young, I thought too, right?
Did Monmouth actually win it? Monmouth won it and returns that kid that was a stud freshman. So possibly a shaky pick. When we play this back, we'll know. But it's possibly shaky.
Now Bob's pick. Here we go.
Oh boy. Just probably what I feel like is the safest pick in the Heartland Collegiate, the 8.
Anderson. All right. Seems like they're always in the mix in the Heartland.
Yeah, they'll be up there.
Carl, you're down to your final 2 picks, so you got to make these count.
Yeah. This is where championships are won, right here. I'm gonna go with St. Norbert at the NACC.
Was it that voted for MSOE? Was it Ryan Scott that voted for
Ryan Scott? Yeah.
That's going to be a competitive league right there. It always is.
It is.
Well, Wisconsin Lutheran lost all of those seniors that had them so good last year, so it's going to be maybe a little bit of a changing of the guard.
That's what I'm thinking.
Ryan.
I have this team fairly high on my ballot. I also have another team from this conference fairly high on my ballot as well. And I think there's 2 teams really competing here, and they're both named St. Joseph. I'm going to take St. Joseph's Maine by the GNAC.
For someone to that was a tough call just because with both St. Joseph's, that could probably go either way.
Yeah.
I think Maine is the favorite there, probably.
That could go. That's a 50-50.
It feels pretty good that one of those 2 is going to win it, right? So which St. Joseph do you want? You want St. Joseph or St. Joseph's Maine, right? Connecticut or Maine?
Correct. Yeah.
I think it's one where the strategy of co-champions getting you the point helps too, right? Because I feel like you got to make a pick between those 2, but maybe there's also a little bit of a gap there with the rest of the league. So, hey, you could find yourself. I don't think you necessarily need to worry about a third team entering the mix right now.
No.
All right, I get to finish off 7 and start off 8 here, snaking back around, right? So my last two picks here. Let's go to the MAC Freedom and go with Stevens. I feel like they've been the consistent performer in that conference over the last few years. And then a conference I've picked in this contest before, the UMAC, but I'm going to go with a different choice this time around and maybe take a little bit of a risk with North Central Minnesota.
You just drafted. You took my two highest of Stevens and North Central. Were my next two. So that was a little shocking. I'm a little unsettled at this point. I could get one of them.
Yeah, we can't rule out that he doesn't have an inside source to the QCast staff.
QCast always has sources, guys. You know this. Break
A lot of
hot
leaks
takes
coming out of
around
the
country.
QCast.
Yeah.
Got those Q bombs.
All right,
That's right.
We're all into our final picks
All
here.
right.
So Zach's was North Central. Ryan, your last pick here.
I've got a couple conferences here where I've literally written down "don't pick."
Yeah.
Let's do the Liberty League, and I'm going to take a program pick here on RPI.
Okay.
Darn it. These are just going down in order right in front of me. Man, I want to be left in the serious trenches here. Make me pick the
All right.
Slyak. Don't leave me the Slyak.
Yeah. So that slag is dark red on my board here.
That's the bottom conference on my list.
Yep, me too.
I'll just say it right
I'm
now.
picking Slyak, yeah.
All right.
Carl,
We're going to
how
go.
are you ending up? Yep.
Yeah. This is the team I thought you were going to pick, Zach. I think you got him last year. I'm going to go with Baruch out of the SUNYAC. The CUNYAC, excuse me. It was a soft C there.
All right.
Baruch has come through for me twice in this contest. I was 2
They're
for
always
2
in
with
the
that's-
mix.
Baruch.
Yeah.
They're always in the mix.
Leagues left here. CNE, the Conference of New England, MACC, the SLIAC, and the UEC. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Oh boy. Tell you what, give me Western New England.
Okay.
Western New England in the CNE.
I was probably going to go there if you didn't pick them.
I think the SLIAC is so hard to pick. I just didn't want any part of it. So
Western
hard.
New England had a really nice tournament run last year. I think
Yeah.
that they were maybe old though, so it's hard to. I'm off the top of my head, so I could be
I'm
completely
aware.
wrong. So,
Program pick.
but it's a
Program
good
pick.
pick, right? You know,
Reloading
there's so many
program.
directions to go. So it's UEC, it's MAC Commonwealth, and it's SLIAC. I've already said I'm not picking the SLIAC. I think I'm going to go, to me, a little bit program pick here in the UEC, and I'm going to pick Penn State Harrisburg. Seems like another team that's been in the mix a lot.
Poppers would love this pick. He loves these guys. Poppers loves Penn State Harrisburg.
Yeah. He saw them
Shout out Popper.
beat Johns Hopkins, I think, on the like 2 weeks before the tournament shut down, and that's why they're the best team ever.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, guys, we've done it.
All right.
We've
Yeah.
picked.
So that leaves the MAC Commonwealth and the SLIAC as the unpicked, untouched conferences.
I'm just gonna read really quickly all of our picks. I had Maryville, Trinity, Texas, St. Thomas, Texas, Marymount, Catholic, Nebraska Wesleyan, Illinois College, and Penn State Harrisburg. Bob took Trinity, Connecticut, UW La Crosse, Yeshiva, Emory, St. John's, Franklin and Marshall, Anderson, and Western New England. Carl, you took WPI, Illinois Wesleyan, Montclair State, Pitt Bradford, Utica, Hardin-Simmons, St. Norbert, and Baruch. Ryan, you took Redlands, Calvin, Whitworth, Mount Union, Washington and Jefferson, John Carroll, St. Joseph's, Maine, and RPI. Zach, you took Randolph-Macon, Keene State, Westfield State, Husson, Pfeiffer, Oswego State, Stevens, and North Central Minnesota. So let's talk about maybe those two conferences we did not pick, see if we have any feeling whatsoever on might be happening there. The first conference was the MAC Commonwealth. Do we have any ideas about what might go on in the MAC Commonwealth this year, guys?
I thought that was just such a competitively. I would have taken York, Pennsylvania. That would have been my pick, but I was looking at 3 or 4 or 5 options there.
Yeah, Hood's been in the mix there a lot too. So do you pick them? Do you pick York? Do you pick someone else like Alvernia? That they're a team that I think that's made the tournament in the last handful of years.
There's some
as
young
well.
teams.
Yep.
There's some young teams in that come. So yeah, I thought that was a tough one.
Yeah.
So let me jump in here and say that my draft prep this year did not involve looking at a single roster. I took a purely analytical approach here. Once I heard that Matt was incorporating, returning production or expected returning production into the preseason efficiency ratings, I decided I'm going to lean into that a little bit and just take a purely analytical approach. Now, I will have you know here that in doing so, the Matt Commonwealth and the SLIAC were two of my bottom three as I took that approach. Basically what I was doing was just taking the preseason efficiency ratings, looking at the gap from number 1 to number 2, and then also looking at the gap from 1 to number 3 to try to see where maybe it was like a 2-team mix. And so based on that approach, I think that as a group we did very well staying away from at least 2 of the 3 in my approach that were the lowest confidence.
Yeah, they seem tough to pick here. Our other conference was the SLIAC. I think in previous years it has also been the SLIAC with low confidence. I know was it last year, Zach, you took Lion as a provisional to maybe win that conference, trying to maybe pull a fast one on everyone else. I had it like a bunch of teams just tied for me, like Greenville and Lion and maybe Spalding. Like there's just a bunch of teams. I don't know what to make of them. And they might just beat each other up. Impossible for me to say who's going to win that. Obviously, no one else has any thoughts, but anyone have any SLIAC takes here? Ryan's just shaking his head no.
Well, let me jump in again. Just so I had Lion as my pick because if you look up at the preseason efficiency ratings for the SLIAC, Lion was their number 1 with an overall rating of plus 1.4. But you look at number 2, 1.3, number 3, 1.3, right? So it's at least a 3-team mix that has basically no separation whatsoever. So maybe we're all getting fooled here, and you could really make any of those picks, and they all end up in like a 4-way tie for first, and it doesn't matter who you picked, you would have been right.
I think Webster's due to get back in the title mix, and so Greenville, Spalding, Lion, and then Webster. To me, if there's 4 candidates, I just steered away from that league.
I'll just add in our defense as we sit here on mid-October, as I was digging through these, there's probably still less than 50% of rosters that have been posted. We don't know which seniors are coming back as 5th years. We don't know, all the transfers that have happened at all 400 plus programs, maybe you guys are keeping track of all 400 plus programs transfers, but there's just so many question marks. So as we start this season and these picks look more and more ridiculous, keep that in mind as we timestamp that.
Yeah, if schools didn't take advantage of early practice opportunities, they've only been practicing for 3 or 4 days. And yeah, maybe they don't even know who's on their varsity and their JV programs if they have those. So a lot to maybe change for these programs going forward. When we did this episode
last year, just in a similar vein, we noted that I think only a couple preseason polls had even been released. As we're doing it this year, I don't think a single one has been released. I don't believe any conference has released their preseason coaches poll, right? So whether it's roster or preseason coaches polls, it seems like some of the stuff is getting pushed closer and closer to the season, where it seems like doing this for the 3rd time, we're doing it with less and less information each time.
As Ryan said, that we're recording this pretty early as well. So and part of that is on purpose because we don't It's more fun to not have any information and just make wild guesses here than to actually try to prepare too much. I don't know if anyone thought of, as we went through the picks, did anyone make a pick that you felt was pretty early or off the board? You would have gone a completely different direction. Does anyone have something like that in mind that they want to bring up? Maybe throw some shade at one of their fellow competitors' picks here.
I'll throw some shade at Bob. I thought taking Trinity, Connecticut, despite them being the preseason number 1, was early because Tufts is really impressive too, and they're going to be real competitive in that league. And I like the pick. I would have picked Trinity as well, but having them as the 2nd overall pick in the draft felt early for me.
I will take the shade, and now I will throw the shade. This is going to be an interesting throw of the shade. I'm going to throw it to my friend Karl Barkley of D3 Direct. Carthage is such an overwhelming favorite in the CCIW. They return their whole team, and they get back a guy who was almost first team all CCIW-ish in Nesbitt. So they add a guy, and there's a pretty good separation between Carthage and IW in terms of just like a preseason poll. So I thought maybe you're drinking the green Kool-Aid a little too much there, Karl Barkley. That's my shade to you.
Here's my thought. I think they probably split in the head-to-head, and then I think Illinois Wesleyan just gets it done. See, got a lot of older players. Ron Rose has been around the block before. He knows what he's doing. So we'll see. Maybe it's true. Maybe there's only one nationally relevant team in the conference this year, and it's Carthage. But
I think there's more nationally relevance this year. It's just I think one of them's got an edge on the others, is what I would say.
I've said it before. I think it's closer to 3 than 1 this season for the CCIW.
Yeah,
with that,
we'll see. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll have a rooting interest at Yeshiva. That's for sure. I won't be a neutral this year.
Are you making the trip to NYC again, Karl?
I'll be up there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
I just saw Poppers up there. Bumped into. He's now a head coach, so I had to address him as Coach Poppers.
And he's married. He's married now.
And he's married. He didn't tell me he's married.
Been a big off season for Poppers.
A lot going on.
All right, let me jump in with a question here for our top 25 voters. Ryan, Matt, Bob. I'm wondering if at all the process of doing your top 25 ballot informed your preparation for this. Maybe there was a team that you realize, hey, there's really only one team out of this conference that I'm considering for my ballot. That probably makes them a pretty decent pick here. Any overlap as you guys were, really this past week, probably going through the efforts, putting more effort into prepping for this draft, obviously, than your ballot, but kind of doing both side by side.
I did. I used the ballot quite a bit and the aggregate D3 Datacast of the public ballots so far. You got 5 or 6 ballots. I used that. I was looking for teams where one team was getting voted and no one else was. So I looked at that. I also that Trinity, Connecticut is the unanimous number 1. To me, they got to find a way to beat Tufts in the NESCAC. So I used it in that way too.
Matt, Ryan?
Yeah, what about you?
Any overlap there? Yeah.
No, same for me. I honestly, I did the top 25 ballot first and then started down this road. So, a couple of conferences that I saw that were kind of, again, going back to my St. Joseph, Maine pick and the St. Joseph, Connecticut debate, I knew I kind of wanted to pick St. Joseph, Maine there, but obviously wanted to save it towards the end. I'm trying to think. The Catholic one was the one that stood out, and that was on your ballot, Matt, where I saw that you had them at 15. And that kind of influenced my landmark conundrum as I was looking through those, and thought maybe Matt had some inside information, maybe that the rest of us were out on. So I definitely used some of the other teams that as Bob said were getting votes from one voter, but not from anyone else, just as a kind of to peek at, make sure we weren't missing anything. But it certainly informed how I went about this.
Yeah, I think for me, it's the prep as much as anything, going through some of those teams. There's, I don't know what it is, 30, 40 teams that you look at pretty deeply when you're considering them for the top 25. So some of those were the same teams that we looked through. So I think that helped me more than just putting them on my ballot. Was I knew more about maybe half of the teams that we talked about here. Maybe the other half were more flyers, but the prep definitely does help.
Let me give a little defense here to you, Bob, on the Trinity pick. Based on my approach of looking at the top efficiency rating in a conference and the number 2, that gap from Trinity to Tufts is the second largest, number 1 to number 2. So based on my board, that was a very appropriate number 2 overall pick.
The thing that scares me,
I didn't see Tufts anywhere near the Final Four last year, right? I was in Fort Wayne. I saw Trinity cutting down some nets. I looked around. Tufts wasn't there. So that's all I'm saying.
The thing
and
that scares
Trinity
me
was
about the
they were
NESCAC
young.
is that single round robin, though. If you get bit one of those times, you don't get the return game to maybe make it up. So it's just the one time through. That scares me a little bit. But a team like Trinity, obviously they're now a veteran team. They've been through that grind. So I don't know that will phase them, but it is making it a little bit different. Randomness affects things in the NESCAC.
Anything else to talk about, boys?
This is a tough year to do this draft. I'll say that. I think that's good. That sets up for a good season, right? There's a lot of parity in these leagues, even though we don't have all the information we needed to do this, like a great job of this. I think there's a ton of parity in most of the conferences, like just randomly, and the NACC or NCAC. John Carroll's coming in. You figure Wabash, Worcester. I mentioned DePaul. You could make a case for like Ohio Wesleyan. You could make a case like 5 teams could be the.
Didn't Denison win it last year?
Yeah.
Denison won it last year, right? So that's an example of like there's a lot of leagues I think that have a lot of parity at the top.
Do we?
The other thing that's really interesting to me is some of the coaching changes where you have some like really good coaches, established coaches going. There's been kind of a few cases where there's like a domino effect where you see one coach moving to another like really good program, and who knows what that's going to look like exactly in year one this year. But you have a lot of confidence that that's going to be like a really good hire for them. So it's going to be interesting to see how a lot of those play out as well. It's definitely something that, maybe Matt and I will talk as, we get into maybe a week 1 episode, something like that. But it's definitely that's something that's been on my mind. Just the domino effect where you see one coaching change leads to another one. And it's kind of like, you feel like that's a good hire for that program. And it leads to another good hire and all these spots that have to get backfilled as a result of it. That's going to be a really interesting storyline that I'm going to be following this year.
On the parity front,
stayed away from like Gettysburg, for example. I think that's a team.
And York for the same reason.
Yeah, like I don't want to touch a program that's going through a coaching change because those are really difficult. And sometimes it's a really good program that had someone leave. Nothing against a new coach. It's just hard to go through those.
Right.
Well, it's like I picked Trinity anyway, even though they have a coaching change, just because I felt like their program is good, but we don't really know what that's going to be like under a new coach. I want to go back to the parity comment, though. We're done with the large-scale COVID 5th year guys. We have some guys that are doing 5th years with injuries and other normal stuff. I wonder if that's going to contribute to the feeling of parity through the country as programs get back more towards the normal 4-year type guys. We'll have to see if that has an effect around the country. I'm really interested to see what that does.
I believe so. I've been saying that since the first year of the COVID thing. I think that so dramatically swung things, some programs. Now everyone's back generally playing with their own guys that they've developed, except somehow University of Chicago has 2 All-American caliber 5th-year guys, right, in the first year of no 5th years. But I do think that this swings it back where everyone's on a more level playing field. Whereas years past, you look at most of the best teams, not all, most of the best teams the last 4 years have had some 5th years. And we won't see that for the most part.
Yeah. All right, as we wrap up here, I want to go around the horn one more time. All of our guests are doing amazing things in the Division III space, Division III basketball space. I want to give you just a minute to kind of talk about that, ways that people tuning in can connect with you, follow you through this basketball season. Karl, let's start with you, D3 Direct. I could personally say I've been really enjoying the student athlete sessions episodes that have been coming out lately. Just give a rundown of what people can expect following you, here on out.
Yeah, I think with the podcast, we're trying to just demonstrate the outcomes. Share awareness of what the Division III level is and what type of outcomes you can expect. In the breadth there, you can go to the professional world. You can play your sport overseas. But more so, I think we're just trying to be the resource that, I wish I had during my own college recruiting process, and helping to standardize something that can be really stressful for recruits and their families, and present information in a very clear and concise way. So we'll be launching a one-stop shop recruiting course this fall. So if you're interested in being a D3 recruiter, someone who is in your network that's on that path, definitely send them our way, and they can always reach out via DM, and we're here to help.
All right, Ryan, Matt mentioned you are the creator of the Great Lakes Invitational. I know you're kind of in the stretch run crunch time here leading up to this year's event. Tell us what you got, between now and stepping foot on the campus of Washington Jefferson for the 2025 event.
Yeah, getting ready for, I can't believe it's the 8th annual Great Lakes Invitational, month away. Prep work is honestly at this point mostly done. All of the student athlete goodie bags are in. The practice schedule is set. We've got all the travel arrangements for all the teams for coming in and practicing on Thursday. We got the game ball in with the logoed game ball this year that came in this week. So everything's in boxes, ready to be packed into a car and ready to get over towards Pittsburgh. And yeah, we'll be playing here. 8 great teams again this year, just about a month away.
And all games going to be streaming online for free. The PAC does a great job with their network. What can fans expect tuning in there?
Yeah, it would be a great broadcast. The PAC network, they broadcast all of the sports across the PAC, but I believe it's an independent entity of the conference. It's a guy that has kind of put it together and kind of does it for the conference. As you mentioned, free for everyone this year. Again, no flow sports for the GLI this year. Should be a great professional broadcast. I've used it for a number of years to watch PAC games. They have a weekly game of the week that they like to put on at a different campus every week. So they'll be doing all 8 games with a full broadcast, play-by-play, and color. So it should be a nice setup for the event this year.
Yeah, looking forward to it. All right, and last but certainly not least, Mr. Bob Quillman, host of the QCast. You've kicked off your new season. I'd say, what do you have planned? But I know generally you don't really have plans. So, what do we got coming up here on the next season here of the QCast?
Yeah, the QCast is kind of a long form interview show. It shows are 30 minutes to 45 minutes typically. I kind of chunk it up where people can just watch certain chapters at a time. I know no one's going to watch generally 45 minutes all at once. I don't have a lot of planning and structure, unlike most of you guys, all of you guys. QCast is sort of hey, this kid would be interesting to talk to. Let's send him a note. Or this kid sends me a note and says, I want to come on the show. So generally we do a show a week. Real work gets in the way of that, obviously. So I try to do as best as I can. I kicked the season off last week. Season 6, amazingly, season 6. I think we've done 203 shows now in total. And I've started doing more with the student athletes. It used to be a coach show. It still is a coach show. I really enjoy having the student athletes on. And so we'll have a lot of student athletes. We'll have a lot of coaches. And who I have next, I couldn't tell you, Zach, to your point. But it's going to be a good season.
It will. Always enjoy those episodes. All right. Great work, fellas. Glad to have you here for another contest. A lot of great content out there about Division III basketball, Division III sports in general from, the panel here and well beyond. Really, just so many opportunities for people to connect with what's going on in Division III athletics right now. It's an exciting time. I encourage people to take advantage of all those opportunities. It's super fun. So, all right, let's go. I look forward to doing this next year with the trophy sitting right behind me. But for right now, we'll let everyone go. And hey, just keep counting down the days to when the season starts.